good, y'all? What's really good? My name's Buttered Roll. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I am a poet, performer, visual artist, also a not-so-complex carbohydrate. All right, let's get into it. One thing that is very central to my process as an artist is taking walks. I really love to do it. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. Get a little fucking weed, smoke a little fucking weed, and take a walk. Listen to new music and stuff like that. It's really good for me for processing emotions and also for just thinking about stuff and processing the normal everyday stuff that occurs to everyone, So this poem, I do a lot of writing also about taking walks. So this poem is about that. This is called The Perils of Being a Pedestrian While Simultaneously Being a Poet, or How I Learned to Sit Down, or I Should Probably Move to the Suburbs. There's too many potholes, too many cracks in the pavement. Despite the fact that I'm a practiced pedestrian, there's too many other people populating this writing space. Too many potential pitfalls on the avenue sidewalk which make it difficult for my feet to do the writing. Too many pedestrians practicing in the way of my mental processes. Think of all the writers that have perished after trying to pirouette past the plot holes on the avenue. The perils of being a pedestrian while simultaneously being a poet include the damn near constant possibility of stepping on the toes of somebody else's plot points. How is one supposed to write in this proximity? I know what you're thinking. I should probably move to the suburbs, learn to write in a static setting while remaining seated. Take up residence in the cranial kitchen, learn to make conversation with Mr. Coffee. Linoleum flooring can be quite the inspiration. And if writing is mostly memory and irony is subatomic, then I should be able to learn to pen pedestrian verse from the confines of my kitchen table. I should be able to personify pedestrian poetics without the perils of the avenue, without the anxiety of statistical certainties, and without having to rely on my feet to do the writing. Thank you. I really appreciate the concept of this show, too. Lineage is something that's very important for me, too, for a number of different reasons. I really think that artists, well, speaking from my own experience, when I really first started to find and develop my own style as an artist, it really came from Lineage in a way that I didn't really realize it was going to do. I feel like a lot of my first iterations in art, in poetry and visual art were basically me doing a somewhat imitation of the people that I really looked up to or whatever. And then, as I went on and did further imitations, they sort of, the aesthetic became stronger, I guess, is what I'm saying. So Lineage is a very important concept for me as well. All right, let's get to it. This is called Hypermedia Saturated Hellscape. No life independent of the internet. United denizens, subjects of big data, citizens of no nation, patrons of which platform? Indentured tenants of the rentier class sowing data points at the server farms. Creatures compelled into a life of content creation. We live our experience just to be uploaded. Our lived illusion has been rented to us so we can post it on the platform of our preference. There is no IRL independent of your IG. How does one form an IMO if it doesn't appear on your FB? Total information, sublime saturation, your existence has been integrated into the algorithm. Your nuclear family has been integrated into your followers. Your sworn fealty to your feudal edgelord. Your sole responsibility as a citizen of no nation is to serve face, to generate the organic engagement of your follower base, as there is no IRL independent of this hypermedia saturated hellscape. This is called brand new residential high-rise. Iconic new rentals can be found in Journal Square. Innumerable new units now leasing for just the majority of your money. It may seem like literal theft, but just wait until you've experienced the Wi-Fi. For your health and well-being, you get 3/4 of a parking space. For your bottom line, you get Pelotons as far as the eye can see. For your basic income, you get a sterilized and hermetically sealed plastic box within which you and your loved ones can waste away in comfort. Anesthetized by amenities and sequestered 17 stories above the displaced masses of the now transplant city. The mom and pops are moving to Patterson. To protect the sweet green, the city has hired more cops. The racialized wealth gap has been subsidized by your democratically elected city council. But the residents of this brand new iconic high-rise residential are shielded from all of this behind the blackout curtains that adorn the windows of each of our units. You can stream the latest mind-numbing sequel and forget all about the global financial tectonic forces that will eventually price you out of this epic high-rise residential. Thank you. This is called How to Use Poetry to Survive Within Capitalism. I'm just going to spoil this for you. There is no way to use poetry to survive within capitalism. Sorry. How to use poetry to survive within capitalism. If this proves fiscally profitable, I may republish it at a later date. If this endeavor proves financially promiscuous, I may reprint, repackage, and resell it at some other point in time. With a foreword, introduction, and bibliography, I reserve the right to do so. The rent is never not due, and I will most likely need the money. If this piece of poetic propaganda goes platinum, then we can eat. A cut of the advance for the slow burn, lay the rest on an even number, and prepare for an expensive funeral. The American dream these days is a side salad on the Titanic, the final filler. You need more than one hit to stay afloat. The baby's feet keep growing, and mommy, daddy, and everyone in the polycule have to work together to feed the machine, which is why I reserve the right to reprint, repackage, and resell this rather obnoxious piece of poetic propaganda at a point in time when I need it most. The price tagged on lived experience keeps multiplying, and the pressure to keep producing will most likely induce panic, but I fear that may be the point. So if this lunatic tirade moves units, if this statement of poetic intent goes viral, then I reserve the right to repackage and resell it as a compilation of Buttered Roll's greatest hits. Within this dog-eat-dog environment, everyone has got a grift. In this land of opportunity, we are forced to hustle relentlessly from fiscal fix to financial fix. This is How Not to Die, after Gregory Corso, also one of my favorite poets. I'll talk about him in a second. How Not to Die, after Gregory Corso. Don't move. Make your best effort to stay still. Nothing is wrong. The micro tremors don't matter. The knocking sound from the general vicinity of your front door is just your imagination. Moving shadows in a dark room, it was most certainly nothing. Take your medication and continue to play dead. Suppress the urge to use your voice. Your feelings of discomfort are just a state of mind, a misleading illusion. You have everything that you could possibly need right here in the comfort of your complicity. So sit back and enjoy the show. If you see something that disrupts your passivity, then simply change the channel. Continue to ignore the imaginary commotion at your front door. If your hermetically sealed satisfaction becomes disrupted by the suffering of others, no need for concern. No need to call your mechanic. It's just empathy rearing its inconvenient head. Simply pick up your internet-able device and don't stop scrolling until you have completely forgotten about the existence of other people. You're an ecosystem of one, which means that the incessant knocking and emphatic shouting that is originating in the general direction of your front door is just an illusion. What else could it be? You haven't done anything. Continue your best imitation of a comfortable corpse, tighten the straps on your boots, double your dosage, and ignore the other people, some of them heavily armed, that are forcefully entering your ecosystem of one. So the poet, he's not really a poet that got me interested in poetry. He was someone that I discovered when I had been writing poetry probably for about 10 years. But I feel like at that point in time, I absorbed him, and he really became a strong character in my little writing world. His name is Frank O'Hara. Born, 1920s, died very young. He died in 1968 or something like that at the age of 40. Queer poet. Was also the director of the MoMA at one point, or the assistant director, something. He did something at the MoMA that was not scrubbing toilets or something like that. You know, he did something important at the MoMA. But I love Frank O'Hara because I've been doing the whole poetry thing in the greater New York area for about a decade or so. And I hear him everywhere, even like in different poetic cliques for sure. He's sort of, for me, and maybe I'm biased, I don't know. I'm sure I am. But for me, he's sort of like, I don't know, he's really emblematic of the New York poetry voice. He uses a lot of irony. If you're looking for deep meaning, I wouldn't go to Frank O'Hara. He does a lot of playing around and a lot of being present. I really suggest if you're going to read his poetry, what I would suggest is just try to be present, and you're not really, I don't know. You should certainly do what you want, but you're not really looking for meaning or takeaways so much. Just try to be present and be there with the writing, I think. I think that works. But yeah, I'm going to read two pieces by Frank O'Hara after I read some more of my own stuff. Question. Is anyone in here getting older? Is that most people here? Oh, wow. Oh, cool. So I'm not alone. That's good. It's happy to hear solidarity in getting older. It's tough. It's tough. My God. All right, so this piece is about getting older. This is called The Accumulation. I can recall feeling invincible. I was too young to be aware of the accumulative wear and tear of lived experience. Tall buildings in a single bound, brick walls were paper bags, blunt force trauma was a minor inconvenience. I can recall a time when I used to feel fearless, completely amenable to imbecility. Head first with a smile, a best friend to impulsivity. I was young, dumb, and multitudinous, with enough unbridled optimism to fill all of the half-empty glasses. I can recall feeling infinite. This was before there was blood on the dance floor, before I learned how to take a punch, before I was coerced into being cautious, before my body forced me to listen, before the accumulation of time, space, and hard living almost beat my body to the ground for good. I can still recall a time when I thought that I and all parts of me were invincible. But the years have disappeared. Everything and nothing have changed. The universe is expanding in all known directions, but entropy seems to be a one-way street. Despite the shortcomings of my memory, my body has been a faithful keeper of the historical record. Every ache and pain a placeholder for the inflection points of personal history. The feet record every step. The stomach remembers every mayonnaise sandwich. The brain is subject to everything the memory forgets. And every cell in the body remembers every warm shot of whiskey. But who knew? As it turns out, the human body is a temple. The wailing and caterwauling weighs heavily on the temple walls. The accumulation of hard time and deep space, in combination with a hearty dose of bad habits, will eventually wear thin the veneer of invulnerability that tends to accompany the folly of youth. So even though I no longer feel invincible, even though I've become familiar with a healthy fear of falling, even though the once pristine dance floor is now covered in blood, I have learned the lesson of listening to the temple and paying heed to the home that has given me everything that I have. Another one about getting older. I wrote this one when I turned 39. I try to write a poem on my birthday every year. It almost never works, but I try. That's the important part. This is called Perambulations, 39. Another year as an odd number. Another orbit on a jilted axis. Subsequent series of trembling moments spent staring into the bathroom mirror, disdainfully, admiring the mustache that I've never earned, brushing my teeth until tomorrow morning, admiring the faucet, the fragments. My facial hair is postmodern and tends to fall apart upon closer observation. A face full of plot holes. The man, his mustache, and the mirror are each falling apart in a French accent, deconstructing pore after follicle after piece of broken glass. Thank you. We're going to switch gears a little bit. This is a true story, by the way. 100% true. 100%. This is called Eulogy for My Microwave. True story. I choose to think about the good days, the bowls of soup, a cup of tea in a fraction of the time, orange chicken rounds 2 and 3, no more half-frozen Hot Pockets. That shameless sound that it made to let me know that I need not be hungry any longer. We spent many wonderful days staring at each other in the corner of my kitchen before that beep became a dull scream. The microwave was a gift from my mother. I have never figured out how to tell her that I had to throw it from my 4-story walk-up kitchen window. During our 3rd summer together, I met someone. We nested. We were dining out, trying to eat more meals with fresh ingredients. I was growing sage on my fire escape. I had climbed at the social ladder to the level where I was allowed to host dinner parties. I had more than one set of plates. All of this personal growth made me forget about the tombstones at 2 a.m. I had also forgotten to change the light bulb in that corner of the kitchen, which had gone dark some time ago. On the day that I murdered my microwave, we had the dinner party that ended all dinner parties. Alkalized water with a spritz of lemon, activated almonds. We had cleared out the cardamom aisle at the Trader Joe's. We hired a cellist to play during the main and dessert courses. It was during the salad course that things started to get a little weird. A guest had requested some tea, and each of our stovetops was in use. So using the flashlight app on their phone, my partner ventured to the dark side of the kitchen. About 30 seconds later, I remember hearing 2 simultaneous screams. Then, something approaching the edge of the darkness. It was the microwave. It had grown teeth and claws and feet. We made eye contact. Its last words to me: "Don't start no shit, won't be no shit." By the time the melee had finished, there were 4 casualties. Our curtains were a cadmium red. The bloodstains looked black on the hardwood floors. The 3 survivors leaned out the living room window and found 1 million pieces of microwaves scattered over half a city block. I told the police that I was going to eat out from now on. I was let go with a slap on the tush. The microwave is survived by several piles of styrofoam containers, my seamless account, and stunted growth. I have a few more for you guys. Like I said, I do a lot of walking, but I also take a lot of public transport, and I do a lot of writing when I'm in public, on trains, buses, everywhere. I find that the movement is similar to walking. The movement while you're driving, when you're not responsible for the vehicle that you're moving in, is very liberating as well, and very good for thought processing, or whatever my version of that is. So this is called the 126. 7 minutes late, the bus stop bench has reached capacity. A glance down the block reveals nothing but compact cars, oversized strollers for cats, dogs, and babies, and the booze-addled brunch crowd. No sign of the 126, but 7 minutes late is still slightly early. 11 minutes late, and the locals are thumbing their ways through their Twitter feeds. New Jersey Transit has posted a picture in which one of their buses is on fire. Hashtag woke up like this. The state of public transit is encouraging people to swim to the city. Hoboken-based scuba retailers are all in the black. Scuba lessons are $120 an hour. Half off if you can survive swimming in the Henry Hudson. Over 14 minutes past schedule, and a cloud of smoke seems to be moving up the block. The 126 is within smelling distance. The locals scramble toward the uptown edge of the bench, and by the time the bus takes off, there's only been one casualty. They tried to pay with pocket change. About 16 minutes past schedule and just about on time, the 126 is a Patagonia-sponsored tossed salad of asses and elbows, a full contact sport. The driver makes an extra hard left on 14th, and now I'm engaged to marry the passenger next to me. Cthulhu is a Hoboken resident, and he resides in a swanky uptown pothole. He's a crossing guard during the school year. He throws a worried glance at the 126 as it barrels past his pothole. 27 minutes past scheduled arrival time, almost late, the bus driver jumps on the intercom and says the following.
Attention passengers. This is a reminder that space and time are social constructs, and the Lincoln Tunnel is an interdimensional wormhole. Please keep your breathing to a minimum as we pass through it.
A proper 31 minutes past schedule, just a few minutes late. The scent of asbestos is in the air. The Port Authority is in sight. As the bus crashes into the gate, the screeching brakes drown out the screaming passengers. The doors open and it's benedictions to the Most High. Phone calls to estranged parents. One man was FaceTiming with his golden retriever. An enthusiastic chorus of "God damn the bus driver" broke out as the asses and elbows piled down the steps into the city. A few more for you guys. Thank you for listening. Jazz pastiche. When asked the question, what is jazz? Approximately 9.7 of every 10 jazz musicians will answer that they do not know. When the question was posed to Charles Mingus, his response, I don't know and I don't care. That was 1975. In 1983, after just 100 years of jazz history, a pharmacologist in Tanzania used empiricism and scientific rigor and finally figured out what jazz is. They put their finger right on the button, and while they were searching for pen and paper to record their discovery, they realized that they much preferred disco. Thank you. So this poem especially is one that I feel like is sort of archetypal for New York and New York poetry. I feel like I've heard people rewrite and rewrite this poem forever. It's called Having a Coke with You, Frank O'Hara. There's a great performance of his on YouTube too if you want to find him performing this poem. Having a Coke with you is even more fun than going to San Sebastian, Irun, Ande, Biarritz, Bayonne, or being sick to my stomach on the Travessera de Gracia in Barcelona. Partly because in your orange shirt you look like a better, happier Saint Sebastian. Partly because of my love for you. Partly because of your love for yogurt. Partly because of the fluorescent orange tulips around the birches. Partly because of the secrecy our smiles take on before people and statuary. It is hard to believe when I'm with you that there can be anything as still, as solemn, as unpleasantly definitive as statuary, when right in front of it, in the warm New York 4 o'clock light, we are drifting back and forth between each other like a tree breathing through its spectacles. And the portrait show seems to have no faces in it at all, just paint. You suddenly wonder why in the world anyone ever did them. I look at you, and I would rather look at you than all the portraits in the world, except possibly for the Polish rider. Occasionally, and anyway, it's in the Frick, which thank heavens you haven't gone to yet, so we can go together for the first time. And the fact that you move so beautifully more or less takes care of futurism. Just as at home I never think of the nude descending the staircase, or at a rehearsal a single drawing of Leonardo or Michelangelo that used to wow me. And what good does all the research of the Impressionists do them when they never got the right person to stand near the tree when the sun sank? Or for that matter, Marino Marini, when he didn't pick the rider as carefully as the horse. It seems they were all cheated of some marvelous experience, which is not going to go wasted on me, which is why I'm telling you about it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your presence of mind. If you thought anything, felt anything about my words, please tell me about it. I love to hear it. Let's talk about it. Nice to meet you.